Shields up, Iron Breakers. Rurikhan here coming at you with another video, and today we're going to be talking about Monster Hunter World. More specifically, we're going to be talking about the Charge Blade build that I presented to you guys yesterday, Charged Elements. Now, for those of you that haven't watched that particular video yet, the whole point of that build was to provide you with an alternative to the playstyle of the Diablo Tyrannus 2, which is essentially a playstyle that a lot of players are adopting because it produces some pretty impressive numbers. As a matter of fact, I did my own version of that build. It's called the Thud on the Table. You guys should be able to find that in the channel. If you so desire, if you want to go for that playstyle, that would be the build that I would advise you guys to do. Now, however, if you are looking for an alternate playstyle through the Charge Blade, that was the whole point of this particular build, Charged Elements. So the whole point of it is to stay in sword mode for as long as possible, actually charging your files to the point where you can unleash 2 super amped elemental discharges in a row, which naturally brings its own benefits because you're going to be a little bit more agile, you're going to be able to do condensed elemental slash more often, you're going to be able to take more advantage of the elemental damage while you are in sword mode, and again, I just thought it was an interesting alternative, and it is a playstyle that I personally prefer over the Diablo's Tyrannus playstyle. And it also gives you more variety because you'll be able to craft different elemental charge blades, and it's just more fun because the whole aspect of crafting different weapons for your own playstyle is a big aspect of Monster Hunter World for me. So anyway, the big problem with that particular build, and it is a problem that you guys pointed out that I was not aware, is the fact that the skill Artillery actually does not benefit elemental files, which, to be completely honest, doesn't make any sense to me, because if you read the description of the Artillery skill as it is in the game, it specifically says, strengthens explosive attacks like gun lance shells, wyvern's fire, charge blade file attacks, and sticky ammo. Notice how it says charge blade file attacks. To me, that is all file attacks, not just impact. But as it turns out, I tested it myself, and elemental files receive no benefit whatsoever from Artillery. Now that was extremely disappointing for me to find out, and naturally I figured, well, it's time to go back to the drawing board with this particular build if I'm going to be able to show people a build that actually utilizes all the skills to full effect. Now, the cool thing about this is that it actually allowed me to really go back to the drawing board on the build and just redefining almost every aspect of it. And in a way, the changes actually make the build feel that much better to me, which I thought it couldn't get any better than it did, but with the changes in skills, it actually got way, way cooler. So I'm not going to waste your time anymore. Let's go over the build itself. So we still have the Alberion blade, but you can use any elemental charge blade that you wish. As a matter of fact, I'm going to provide you with the way the build works for different charge blades a little bit further ahead in the video. But for the purpose of this video, we were using Alberion blade, so that's what I'm going to be showing you guys. Next, the helmet is now swapped. We are going to be using the Nergigante Helm Alpha, because it grants us maximum might level 2 and attack boost level 1. You guys probably know that getting those friggin' attack boost gems is a pain in the ass. I only have the one that they give you still, because I haven't gotten any off of any other mechanic in the game. So yeah, maximum might level 2, attack boost level 1, pretty solid to get started, because I mean, once you position yourself with the charge blade, you're not going to be spending any stamina. Therefore, you're going to be able to constantly have maximum stamina, and maximum might is going to increase your affinity because of that, and that's good in my book. Then we have the Rathalos Male Beta, which we already had in the previous build. This particular chest piece right here gives you weakness exploit level 2, which is pretty good, and it is also a Rathalos piece, which is important because we want the 2-piece Rathalos bonus to get critical element. The next piece is Wrath Soul Braces Beta, and this is where the build really starts to shift away from the initial build that I did, where here we are getting Focus. Now, Focus is going to allow us to do the charged double slash faster than before, and also allows us to do the condensed elemental slash faster than before. Now, this is something that might be a little bit harder for you guys to see while we are doing the video, but if you try it for yourself, I can assure you it is much faster, and it actually feels way better for a playstyle where you are focusing more on being in sword mode versus constantly switching to axe mode to unload super amped elemental discharge. Then we got the Nergigante Coil Beta, which is providing us with 2 levels of attack boost. Again, pretty solid. We got the Dober Greaves Beta also providing us with 2 more instances of attack boost. And then moving onwards, we have the Focus Charm 2. So we're not really trying to go all the way out into maximum attack boost, even though we get pretty close. We are, however, attempting to get maximum focus. Now, when it comes to decorations, it's very similar to what we had previously. However, there are a couple of changes here because we do get a couple of additional slots when we use the build this way. So on the Dober Greaves, you have a tier 1 slot. We're going to put a Blaze Jewel in there. Now, like I told you guys in the previous video, you only really need 2 Blaze Jewels to reach the cap of this specific charge blade. So this is the first one. Then we're going to be using the Tenderizer Jewel 2 on the Nergigante Coil to max out our weakness exploit. In the Wrath Soul Braces, and there was a lot of swapping around before I decided that I was going to use the Wrath Soul Braces, and I used them specifically because they give me another level 2 decoration slot so that I can put the Mighty Jewel in there, and now I have basically maximum might. I know, that's whatever. And then moving forward, we have Rathalos Male Beta, which I'm going to put an attack jewel in there simply because, I don't know, I wanted to get the main requirement for this build, in my opinion, is to get 4 attack, but I couldn't find anything better to put in there, so I'm just like, whatever, attack 1. Then we got the Nergigante Helm. Now, this right here is very much an optional gem, and as a matter of fact, if I had another attack jewel, I would actually put another attack jewel in there, and I would max out the attack skill. Unfortunately, I don't have that, so I'm going Expert Jewel. Also, if you feel that you want a little bit more of affinity, you can also swap this particular attack jewel right here for another Expert Jewel. But I feel like I have more than enough affinity with the build the way that it is. And then on the Alberion Blade itself, we're going to have a Blaze Jewel level 1, which is going to grant us, it's not going to grant us the cap because the cap for the Alberion Blade is actually 310 fire damage. This will get us to 300, and trust me, it is most definitely not worth it if you're to go after those final 10 damage, okay? Anyway, once we get the full build assembled, you're going to get yourself attack boost level 6. So like I said, we don't have maximum attack boost, even though we could if we had an additional attack gem. And if you have one, you can do that if you want to. Then we have weakness exploit level 3. We have focus level 3. We have maximum might level 3. Fire attack level 2, which is enough to get close enough to the cap to be relevant. And critical I1 because of that additional expert jewel that I told you guys about. Now, like I said, the build actually feels better this way because focus really brings additional speed to the build. Like, if you had played with the build with and without focus, trust me, it is a significant difference, and you're going to feel a lot faster just as you are running after monsters and just spamming charge double slash. It's going to feel a lot better, and it is definitely going to reinforce that, that sword mode playstyle for the charge blade. Now, like I said, you can essentially adapt this to any other elemental charge blade that you want. So for instance, I will show you guys what this looks like on the Thunder charge blade. It is going to be exactly the same build. The only thing that changes is instead of having the Blaze Jewels, you're going to have Bolt Jewels in place of where you had the Blaze Jewels. And you're going to get exactly the same skills. Instead of Fire Attack, you have Thunder Attack. There's that one critical eye, which again you can swap for the attack boost if you so desire. And the weapon that is being used in the Thunder version of this build is the Kadachi Kaina 3. Now, if we go to water, on water we have a bit of a change here, and the reason is on the water charge blade, it actually makes sense to increase the amount of water attack because it has a higher elemental threshold. Therefore, you will want to use 3 stream jewels instead of the jewels that we were using earlier. So essentially, you're going to be replacing that expert jewel that I said was optional for an additional stream jewel, and you're going to get as much benefit as you were getting on all the other builds, except water will actually have a higher elemental attack. This is still going to have all the other skills: attack boost, water attack, weakness exploit, focus, and maximum might. Once we get to ice, things get even more interesting because the weapon that I'm using is the Giga Frost 2. And Giga Frost 2 will actually have 2 level 2 decoration slots on the weapon itself. So this lets me play around with the build a little bit more, which is why you guys are going to see the exact same thing that you see on all the other builds with the stats. But then you're going to see critical boost and power prolonger. What the hell's happening there? So those are two of the skills that you can put. I put both of them because I don't have 2 gems of any of this skill. In my opinion, it would be better to have either 2 power prolongers or 2 of critical boost, but unfortunately I only have 1 of each, so I ended up putting 1 of each and I got a little bit of both effects. But I prefer to double down on that stuff. So if you prefer critical boost and you have the gems, go for 2 slots of critical boost. If you prefer power prolonger, go for the 2 slots of power prolonger. You'll also notice that we don't have the expert jewel in there. That's because instead of socketing the frost gem on the weapon itself, we are socketing in the place of that expert jewel that we had previously, so that we can then just use the 2 level 2 slots on the weapon for these better skills. And then when you take a look at the dragon version of the Charge Blade, it is essentially the same thing. Right now I have the Azak Aspida 1 because I haven't gotten Valhazak to drop another of his gems. Therefore, I only have the level 1 of that particular Charge Blade. I will be upgrading it as soon as I get another gem. But essentially, it's the same thing. The difference here is that, again, the Hazak Aspida has 1 level 2 decoration slot, and therefore I just put a critical boost in there instead of going for that expert jewel, whatever. I just put the dragon attack jewels in place of the expert jewel, and then I put a critical boost on the sword itself. And this is pretty much how I build all of my elemental builds for the Charge Blades. These are all the elemental builds that I've done. I have not done ailment builds for the Charge Blades. I am working on a blast build, but I still need to get a couple of more gems to finish that out. Anyway, let me know what you guys think about this particular playstyle. Me, personally, I really enjoy it. I have a lot of fun with this playstyle. A lot more fun than I usually have playing the Diablos Tyrannus, even though that produces more impressive super amped elemental discharge numbers. But still, this to me is more fun. Now, something that you guys will have noticed in this build is the absence of capacity boost. You guys will be like, Rurikhan, what's the deal? Just because artillery doesn't work, capacity boost still works. But then I got to thinking and I was like, well, I mean, I don't have a socket for a decoration for capacity boost, which means I'm stuck using Dodogama Greaves or a necklace, which I can use better for other skills. And then I also got to thinking, so if artillery doesn't work, that means that the extra file that capacity boost is adding is also not getting that increased 30% damage. And the elemental files, when you do a super amped elemental discharge with an elemental weapon, they're not really that impressive when it comes to damage. So I was like, whatever. What's one more discharge, one less discharge? It's not really that impressive anyways, and you're going to be spending a lot more time in sword mode. So I just focused on getting the most out of sword mode instead of going after the meta of capacity boost and artillery and all that. Once again, let me know what you guys think about it in the comment section below. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.